Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are happy and healthy. Children, as you all know, we are revising grammar and we have completed yesterday direct indirect speech. Today we are going to start active and passive voice. So children, let's start. Children, because today is new topic for us. Actually, it is not new topic, we are revising this. So first of all, I know that you have already understood what is the active and passive voice. But for your brushing your knowledge, previous knowledge, that is why I am going to start this topic today. So children, what is active voice? First of all, we will discuss this, and after that passive voice. Then we will be continuing in this and we will discuss rules of changing active to passive voice. So first of all, I am going to write on the board what is active voice. So active voice, actually this is when the subject of the verb, when the subject of the verb, when the subject of the verb is the doer of an action, is the doer of an action. Okay? The verb is said, the verb is said to be in the active voice. Okay. Now children, I will give you one example. Neeta ate the bananas. Okay. This is example. Now children, first of all, we should understand what is active voice. There's two voices, first is active and second is passive. So what is active voice? When the subject of the verb is the doer. Okay? Who is doing the verb? That is called doer. Of an action, the verb is said to be in the active voice. Here you can see the subject. When the subject of the verb, this is subject, okay, and this is verb, and this is object, of course, because this is eaten by Neeta. Okay. Now here children, first you should understand what is subject, what is object and what is verb. Now here children, subject is there, now then verb, and then you can see object. Here you can see when the subject of the verb is the doer of an action. Now here you can see who ate bananas. Neeta ate bananas. It means the subject is a doer of an action. Who ate bananas? Neeta ate bananas. Now here this is called active voice. In active voice, when the subject of the verb is the doer of an action, the verb is used to be in the active voice. Okay children? So this is an active voice. Now we are moving to the, I'll give you one more example, that is Ram typed the application. Okay. Now here children you can see Ram typed the application. Now here typed is a verb. Who is doing this? Ram is doing this. And what is he doing? He is typing the application. Now here it is again an active voice. Okay children. So this is called active voice. Now children, we are moving to understand what is passive voice. I think it is clear to you. Again, I'll read this. When the subject of the verb is the doer of an action, the verb is said to be in the active voice. Okay children? Now, I hope it is clear. Now we are moving to passive voice. What is passive voice? So for this I have to erase these writings. Now we are moving to passive voice. A verb in the passive voice when it tells us what is done to a person, what is done to a person or thing, the subject is the receiver. Now here children, receiver, the subject is the receiver of the action in the passive voice. Now children, as the definition tells you, that is, what is passive voice? A verb in the passive voice when it tells us what is done to a person or thing, the subject is the receiver of the action in the passive voice. So here we are following the zigzag formula as we have discussed in our earlier videos and earlier classes, because this is the revision of this active and passive voice. Again I am telling you, now in this we are going to zigzag form. The subject become object and object become subject. Okay. Now doer become receiver and the receiver become doer. So that zigzag form we are following this. This definition is giving you the correct information that what is passive voice. A verb in the passive voice when it tells us what is done to a person or thing, the subject is the receiver of the action. Okay, the subject become receiver of an action. Now children, I'll give you one example, that is when you can say that if we will revise it, I'll give you a banana was being eaten by Neeta. Okay? Okay children? Now here you can see Neeta is a subject, or you can say he is a doer. She is a doer. Now a banana. Now object here comes. This is object and this is subject. This is subject. Okay? Subject and object. Now here you can change. Just opposite. Now the subject become receiver of an action. A banana was being eaten. It means the action was done by Neeta and the object is placed over here. So this way we can understand what is active and passive voice. Active voice is a simple thing. The person who is the doer of an action, that is also a subject of the sentence. Now, but in passive voice it will become in a zigzag formula. The doer become receiver over here, and the receiver, whatever the things, whatever the object is there, it will become subject over there. So here we are using a zigzag formula, that is called active and passive voice. This is passive voice. Okay children. Now some features that is very important for us to discuss in the class, because before going to discuss these rules, we should know what are the features of active and passive voice. So children, I am going to write features. Okay. Now first thing, the object of the verb. The object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. Okay children. Now first of all, first feature of active and passive voice, the object of the verb in active voice become the subject in the passive voice. So this is a very, very important feature of active and passive voice. Now second, now if I'll give you one example for that, the chimpanzee is eating a banana. Okay. Now here children, you can see the chimpanzee is eating a banana. Now here you can see this is subject. Who is eating the banana? The subject is eating a banana. Now here banana is a object. As the first features telling us that subject become object and object become subject. Now here we will use, this is subject and this is object children. Okay. Now when we are using this in passive voice, so what we will do? A banana, it will come here. So the zigzag form will be follow. So a banana is being, because this is in continuous tense, so we will write is being eaten by chimpanzee. Okay children, this is so simple. We are using zigzag formula. The object becomes subject over here and the subject become object. Here you can see the formula we are using for making active to passive voice. This is active voice and this is passive voice children. Now here a banana is being eaten by chimpanzee. Okay. So this is the way we will do active, we will solve active or we will make active to passive voice. Now this is first feature. Now we are moving to the second feature. So for this we have to remove this because we don't have much space on the board. So children, we are moving to the second topic. The active subject, in sentence A, the chimpanzee. the chimpanzee has become the passive subject in the sentence. As we have seen this. Okay, children? Now the third thing, the object in the active voice, the object in the active voice has become subject in the passive voice. Subject in the passive voice. Okay, children? So write it down, children. This is very important thing that we are discussing. Okay. Now the preposition by is used before the subject, or you can say the chimpanzee, if we will take the same example. So who is eating this? Chimpanzee is being a banana is being eaten by chimpanzee. Now here you can see by will be used before receiver. Okay, so this is very important thing that we will be always remember this, because while making active to passive voice we can forget, and because of this your marks will be cut. So this preposition we will use before receivers. Okay. Now if we will see the same example, that is a banana is being eaten by chimpanzee. Okay. So the chimpanzee by chimpanzee. Okay, by chimpanzee it means the subject become object and object becomes subject. So who has eaten the banana? Chimpanzee, by chimpanzee. Now here the preposition by is used before the chimpanzee, as we have done. So children, now that is the fourth point. The verb is eating. Because we have discussed one example, chimpanzee is eating the banana. Okay, a banana. The chimpanzee is eating a banana. Now here the verb is eating changes to is being eaten. Okay children, is being eaten. So this is also an important thing that we will change. Is being eaten. Is eating is become is being eaten. Now next thing, it is an appropriate auxiliary is being plus past participle of verb. Now what we have used? We have used a banana is being eaten by the chimpanzee. Now here it is an appropriate auxiliary is being plus past participle of verb, is being eaten by chimpanzee. Okay. Now children, here you can see last point, the subject of the verb in the active voice is expressed as by plus agent in the passive voice. So the subject of the verb is in the active voice is expressed as by agent in passive voice. By will be used over there. So these are the features you have to learn, because this is important part of active and passive voice. Now it becomes a prepositional phrase in the passive voice. Okay, so I'll give you one example for that. One example that how it become prepositional phrase. Raman drew a picture. Raman drew a picture. It is in active voice. How we will write a picture in the passive voice? A picture was drawn by Raman. Okay. Now here you can see this is passive voice. So we will change like this. Okay. Now we are moving to the next point. Next point is the subject, the verb in the active voice. Active voice is changed to an appropriate auxiliary. Plus participle form of the verb. Okay, children. So here auxiliary, appropriate auxiliary and appropriate participle form of the verb. Okay, the verb in the active voice is changed to an appropriate auxiliary plus participle form of the verb. Here you can see a picture was drawn by Raman. So the example is given over here. Now we are moving to the next point, that is, the next point is, if the subject or object in a sentence in active voice is a pronoun, it changes its form as shown in the table here except you and it. Okay. Now here you can see, if the subject or object in the sentence in the active voice is a pronoun. So what we will do? It changes its form as shown the table except you and add it. I'm going to draw a table over here. So we will learn how to change in active to passive voice, children. So first of all, the table I'll going to draw active voice subject form. Okay. Now here, okay, sorry, subject form. Now here I am going to write over here passive voice. Passive voice object form. Okay, children. Now here what we will do in the passive voice, that we are going to learn, because this is, we are changing in pronoun as we have done in the direct indirect speech. Similarly we will do in the active to passive voice. I become me, we become us, he become him, she become her. It will change in passive voice. Now next is they become them. Okay, you will remain same and it will remain same. Okay, these changes we will do while making active to passive voice. I, in the place of I, we will use me. In the place of we, while making passive voice, we will use us. He become him, she become her, they become them, you become you, and it will remain, you and it will remain same, children. So this table you must learn, because while making or converting active to passive voice, you find difficulty. That is why you just learn it. So children, now we are moving to the next point. Now one thing I would like to say, if the active voice having two object or two subject, so how we will change? So the verb is having two subject. So how we will change it? So children, transitive verb, if the transitive verb are having two object, so how we will change in active to passive voice? So children, this will become distransitive verb. So that we will learn today, that if the transitive verb are having two object, so how we will change in active to passive voice. Now here one example I will give you. Suman gave her a book. Now children, here you can see Suman is a subject, gave, here you can see gave her. Gave is a verb, and this is, you can see transitive verb, because gave her object is there, that is why this is transitive verb. So here you can see two, direct and indirect object. So her is direct object, and this is indirect object, children. So what we will do while converting active to passive voice? We can write it in two ways. First way, that she was given a book by Suman. And the other way we can write, we can change in passive voice, that is, a book was given to her by Suman. Okay children. Now because this transitive verb are having two objects, direct object and indirect object. So how we can write? We can write in a two ways, that in passive voice, she was given a book by Suman. So this is not very common, because this is common, so we are using this, but this is also correct. We can write in this form also. So a book was given to her by Suman. Now here you can see the changes. Here in the first sentence you can see she, and here her. So children, this way you can convert active to passive voice. So children, we will continue this topic in our next video class. So we will meet again. You just revise these rules, and after that we will solve exercises also, few exercises, because we have already solved in our grammar book. So we will practice on that. Okay children, so we will meet again. Till then, bye bye and take care.